So I waited a couple days for the dust to settle, but it looks like there's a lot of drama around casual game mode, specifically the new version that came out with solos. And there's a lot of different sides to it. We'll go ahead and kind of talk through some of the different bullet points because there's some playlist drama, there's player drama, and then I got a chance to play a couple matches. For those of you that were in the stream, you guys saw that gameplay live. I only played the one match, and then I played another one that I could record for today's video, which you'll be seeing in the background. Casual gameplay. Only available solos and quads for that, and then they have the regular battle royale duos and quads, and then ranked trios, and that's it for battle royale. As part of that drama, they also removed some modes that people are kind of unhappy about because I think a lot of people are really enjoying the massive resurgence, but that is what it is. So right now there's no regular solos, and this is different than the regular quad casual that's available because you get the option between the AI bot mode where there's 120 players that are AI bots, and then there's 28 legitimate real players in the mode. The solos works a little bit different. It looks like there's 119 players. They haven't confirmed this, but through playing the two matches plus looking at other people play the mode, when you infill, you can kind of see the overall number, the way the disconnects work. It ends up looking like 119 AI bots, so one less, and then there should be 31 total real players, with one of those being the actual player that loads into the match. So you a little bit better odds to run into a real player in solos than you would in the quads version, because 7 groups split across the map or whatever the case is. And I think one of the biggest issues with this playlist drama is I'm sure other creators have made videos kind of about this element, that there was a creator call. I wasn't on the initial call, but I heard the video playback of it after because they sent us a link. I listened to the Warzone section, and they were already kind of on their heels knowing that them putting out casual solos, not a big deal. Everyone thinks that that's not a big deal. Casual mode for all modes, perfectly fine. Load them up with bots, low skilled or casual player, whatever you want to call it. Just throw it in there, let as many playlists without interfering with the normal modes. I think that's normal, concept of the playlist. I think most people are generally fine with that as a system. Then they decided to throw a wrench in it and just say, you know what, we're going to remove the regular BR solos. And that's kind of like it. Sorry, no notice, no warning. And unfortunately, as we get into how that works with players, there's some people that only play that because, or at least a majority of their time spent playing that, because maybe they have a little bit more time than their friends to play. So they play solo, and then maybe on the weekends, they meet up and they party up with their friends, and then maybe they do trios or quads or even duos. So that's a little bit wonky. I think the big concern with this is, one, if you like to grind for stats, casual doesn't track stats. That's the whole element of it. You shouldn't really be paying attention to stats. Personally, if you could do a combat record of my casual stats for solos, I had a total of 44 kills and no deaths in 2 matches, and I had a 100% win rate. I won both my matches. You guys, like I said, saw it on stream. And you'll see this one. Spoiler, I win this match. There's a couple real people in there at some point. Good luck trying to spot them, as we'll talk about. But I think a lot of this is puts a little people off because they knew it was going to be a bad decision, so they slipped it in at the last second so that people couldn't make a big deal about it. And then they kind of just stuck to their guns, which it's cool. They want to stick to their guns, but it's like there's other things that I've mentioned in previous videos where it's like 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Cool, they updated the firing range, so now it has TTK variables. Huge W. They expanded the meta by adding 2 new weapons that are pretty good. LC-10's very competitive. The FFAR, very good, but not hard meta. Krieg is still probably the best, but all around you can still use the AMAX, the Kilo, and about 10 other guns. Great, meta changes. Added bullet velocity, all good. By the way, we're gonna remove a playlist. Like, what? Who thought of that? Obviously, there's people that'll go, well, 2 steps backwards, 1 step forward, 2 steps backwards, depending on how negative they are on the game. But if the game functioned the way it was supposed to, and we had all the playlists we were supposed to, without any bugs, the game's in a pretty good spot. It's not there, so the game's in a kind of a terrible spot, right? Until they fix some of those issues that delay ranked play coming out an entire day. But that's something on their end that hasn't been fixed in 5 years, and I don't know what the heck the problem is. But since they did leave this till the last second, there are a lot of people that think solo battle royale will not come back. I don't think there's anything that's set like precedent to saying, oh, we're going to take it away for a little while and never bring it back. Maybe you guys remember a specific instance of this. I couldn't recall a single one, but because it is COD, people tend to be like make their own conclusions, and they're going to think of the worst because it is Call of Duty. They're inherently negative about the game, but they still play it every day. There's a weird relationship between people and Call of Duty for whatever reason. They don't play one of the other games on the market that are just enjoyable. No stress, no rage, no anger, but maybe no dope. So I guess they don't get any of that dopamine hit that they get from COD anywhere else. So unfortunately, they're stuck with it regardless if they like it or hate it. It just is what it is. So there's that thought that it's a slippery slope, that people think, you know what, they're never going to bring back the regular Battle Royale solos. I don't think that's necessarily the case. I think there's other things that are more likely. I think what they would more than likely do is maybe, do kind of what Fortnite did, where there's a handful of AI in the lobbies, maybe like 30% of the lobby. So you end up with like 45 bots and 100 real players or something like that. I don't know. That's not what I want in particular, but I don't know what they're going to plan to do. Even though the solution is maybe to remove SPMM or reduce it, but then I don't know if that'll lead to issues with lower skilled players, because as we'll talk about this player drama, it gets a little bit more complicated, right? There's basically a thought that good players should play something other than solos because it's the casual mode. And there's people that have like 5 KDs. Like in my case, I'm a little over a 2. So when I go into this mode, there's probably people that would say, you don't belong in there. This is the casual mode. To be fair, that was 2 matches I played. I played a little bit of Plunder to level up my guns, lag like heck, and that was unfortunate. But regardless of that, I would be considered quote-unquote casual. I don't play the game, no life. I level up my guns when new season drops. I get the metas out. I do some analytical data, but I'm not no life in the game. This week I played 8 hours of the meta for RPG or whatever. Week before that we were on Doom. Week before that we were on Expedition 33. I play other video games. I'm sorry. Next week we're probably going to be playing Arc Raiders, and that might be something that we post on the second channel. Just keep that in mind. I don't have that toxic relationship with COD. I jump on, get my little bit of dopamine, and I'm off. I don't know how people play for 8 hours a day, but that's an aside. There's arguments about people shouldn't play that mode. You're not a casual. But if somebody only plays solo, it is such a terrible experience to play with randoms. The times that I have partied up or played in larger groups like trios or quads, I almost always play with randoms. Of course, I could hit up XYZ streamer and we could just go through the lobby. They're way better than me. They compete for money. GG's, we're going to win everything. Even with them slightly carrying me, right? Realistically, I can do that, but that doesn't give me a regular player experience. I load up with randoms. I see their behaviors, see how they act. The average player sucks at video games, and that's just video games in general. It's not a COD specific thing. And from all the people we've spectated in randoms, if you go ahead and do it yourself from the beginning of a match, you know that the average player isn't particularly good, and that's okay. Some people are trying to improve. Some people are new to video games. They're one of those COVID gamers that those first time to come into games, they had no experience with it, and now they can't see themselves ever not playing video games. But either way, it's unfortunate that they've removed a mode, so now that creates a little bit of animosity. There's already been tribalism between lower skilled players or average to low skilled players and then higher skilled players. There's always this like balance because SBMM has kind of pitted people against each other, where bad players don't realize they're in the bad lobbies and good players want to be in easier lobbies. And that's why there've been all kinds of other stuff that has worked or doesn't work, or the game has modified stuff so that it does or doesn't work anymore. And that's whether it's the 2-boxing, VPN, or whatever the hell other magic people want to use to get easier lobbies. Playing in the morning, I don't know. Either way, it ends up being one of those things where there is a lot of animosity between those groups. And just putting out a casual mode where people are like, oh, well, good players are just going to go into the casual mode. And this is what it was for quads. People thought, oh, good players are just going to come in and sweat for high kill games. Realistically, that didn't happen as much as people thought it would. I think there was a lot of people going in there and trying to do their camo grind, which is pretty efficient in those modes when you kill like 80% of the people you kill are bots, actual AI, have no feelings, no comms, no nothing, just literally wandering around. Those are like, cool, get your camos done. You're not really sweating it out. You're going casual, whatever. Of course, you probably did run into the occasional person that is pretty legitimately good at the game. Sometimes casual, sometimes not. Casual doesn't imply or mean that the person is 100% a bad player. It's just not how it actually works in practicality. People are just really good at video games and they don't need to invest a lot of time in it. Then they decided to go, you know what? You only get solos. And for me, I'm not somebody who would play solos. I don't like solos. I know we do a lot of spectating solos, but realistically, I don't enjoy solos. I don't mind spectating a good player play solos. I don't mind spectating randoms. My perfect mode is trios, and they got rid of that for ranked, and I don't want to play ranked. So what am I left with? Quads, which then it's like I have to rely on 3 randoms, and my skill level, even though it is like above a 2, is not good enough to 1v4. It's just not. Like, I'm not an idiot. Then that would be encouraging me to play with other people that are really good to offset the nonsense of playing with randoms. And then I end up in a lose-lose situation. So for me, the playlist situation that we have right now is the absolute worst we've had in a very long time. I could go play Rebirth and maybe do trios, but now that we've had Verdansk for a little bit, I prefer Verdansk pacing, tempo, compared to Rebirth, at least until Rebirth gets some updates, which it feels kind of flat on that end. But that's another side. There's two sides of the coin when it comes to the different players that were playing solos. Some are just going to boycott the casual mode and just say, screw it, I'm not going to play that nonsense. I'm not giving them player numbers. I don't want them to let them know that that mode is good. I'm going to have the least amount of play time so that they see that metric as playtime went down when casual mode was available and not the regular one. Which is fair enough. You got to do that in mass. They're not going to notice it otherwise. Or the opposite, which is the incredibly extreme. They took it away. I'm going to show them. I'm going to go in there and get my 40 or 50 kills in solo and try to slam as many players as I can to ruin the experience with a very negative like energy going into it, because that'll show them. They'll get all these complaints about sweats being in there, which I think is terrible. Like, that's just the wrong way to do it. Like, obviously I was doing like plain solos, but I wasn't sweating. I'm getting 20 plus kills, casually sitting on top of a roof, chilling, not going out of my way to kill a bunch of players, not running around with the advanced UAV, bird's eye, whatever, and the vehicle just hunting down the lobby. Not doing that, just kind of going in and getting some B-roll, so it's just not me talking full screen for you guys. You got a little bit of background gameplay. So there's a little bit of purpose. Otherwise, I wouldn't have touched the mode again after the first time I played it, just to try it out, see how it went for stream. And that just builds on top of the animosity, because now it's like one of those debates where, well, what is the casual mode exactly? Like, it's like a misnomer now that it's the only mode, because what other solo mode is there? Before it was solos and solo casual. Quads casual. Trios ranked. Now trios only has ranked, not regular trios. So like I said, I only played 2 matches. One was on stream, and the one's the gameplay you're seeing in the background. For me, I felt the matches relatively easy. A lot of kills just come to you. I felt like in normal solos, it's a lot harder to actually find players that you're going to run into, because I think there's a little bit of higher tendency for people to camp in regular solos. In these ones, you don't run into near as many campers. Obviously, there's people camping and stuff. Even myself is camping my butt off on this building that you'll see is that's kind of what I'm doing. Just chilling, patrolling the area. I'm not like just hard pre-aiming a ladder or anything like that. But realistically, it's super easy and people just kind of run in the open. And I think the downside with casuals is there's people that are below a certain skill level where they can't distinguish the difference between regular and like casual. I've actually had comments of this where they're like, I don't notice the difference. They need to make it so it's 100% bots. And I'm like, how do you not notice the difference, bro? Like, it is night and day difference between a regular match and casual for me. And I know I have a lot of knowledge of the game. At 37 years old, my reaction time isn't quite as good. But as just a fundamental BR player, it's pretty straightforward. how to play Warzone. It's not like a complicated game. And like I said, there is 119 bots from what it felt like, and 31 total real players, so 30 other players that you can run into in the game. And the end games are where you're going to run into most of the players, because the bots aren't particularly good. I think they're all like on the lowest skill setting, even though they have changed their behaviors. Their behaviors are infinitely more varied. When we did some of our casual breakdown, when they first introduced trio or quad casuals, we were able to get really predictable behavior from the AI bots. The normal thing they do is they usually lead with some kind of throwable. They usually do some kind of drop shot, and they usually will do like intermittent firing. They'll go like, brrr, brrr, and that's, even though they haven't fired enough to empty the mag, those are clear signs that those are like AI bots. But in this version, from both of those two matches that I played, they have bots that are sliding, jumping, using buy stations, completing contracts on top of the other things, and they're blended together. So not all the behaviors are visible every time. Because even in this gameplay, there's so many bots I run into. I think I only killed 5 real players in this entire match. Maybe 6, not 100% sure. It's really hard to tell because the level glitch stuff where it has so many people level 1, but then it has people prestige, and then the bots do have levels. So it's all screwed up, and they don't have the numbers next to the name, so you can't even look up their stats on the COD trackers type stuff. So I don't know. They have made it very difficult, and even in reviewing the footage, it was kind of like, is that a bot? I can't tell. Is that really just a bad player with bad fundamentals, or is it actually an AI bot? And I think they're getting much closer, so where it will be indistinguishable, and that's the scary part. Because initially when it was just bots that kind of sucked and whatever, it was like no big deal. There's no way they'll add those into the regular playlist. People will know immediately. But I promise you they could slip 10 or 20 of these bots or even 30 of these into normal playlist. And people would not be able to tell the difference if it was that few and they didn't know. Even this, I know, kind of like, I'm looking for AI bots, and I cannot tell if they're just really legitimately bad players that are new to the game, which is perfectly fine for new players to be bad at a game, but indistinguishable from real person and AI in some cases. Obviously, like I said, if they still have the dead throwaway, like, oh, let me throw. Okay, fire bullets. Okay, all right, let me... Oh, they slide canceled. What the heck? What the heck is going on here? Okay, I thought that was 100% a bot. I'm pretty sure it's a bot now, but I'm not sure. It's definitely getting to that edge where I think they are actually testing that out for those purposes, maybe. Or maybe so that casual players legitimately will have no clue and their skill level will be unable to distinguish real from AI. And that could be kind of crazy for the future of the games. I know that a while back there was all these conspiracy theories about that stuff, but now it's actually being implemented. There's actual talking points for it. What I think will happen is that regardless of what Call of Duty decides to do, I think realistically people are going to be upset. Because if you're casual, you don't want like sweaty players in your lobby. That's just part of that divide. If you're a sweaty player, you generally don't want to play AI bots, so you want your own mode. And there'll always be some kind of clashing between that, and regardless of what Call of Duty does, because they mess up so dang much, it's just everything is perceived as a negative, regardless of it's a good change or no matter how many good is done. They always ruin their reputation on a running basis. And this doesn't even talk about the fact that there's cheaters in the game and other bugs and other issues that do cause a lot of problems for gamers. I think they'll continue to develop this AI, and at a certain point, it may become indistinguishable. Unless you're like on the lookout, it'll be indistinguishable. Like I said, they could even throw this into regular maps. I'm sure people think that has already been done, even at a small sample size, and it'll just be one of those things. So, what are your guys' thoughts about the mode? What do you think of the gameplay in the background? Like just being casual gameplay? Is that like a turnoff if I go, hey, you know what? Let's check out the SOG, but I'm going to try it on Rebirth Casual when that comes in the mid-season. Is that better than playing a real match? I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts when it comes to the content side, the mode in general, playlist? See you on the next one. Thank you for watching. As always, have a great day.